Slave DiBiase.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Maybe even good morning, depending on whenever you digest this content. It's your boy, Slave DiBiase, and we are here for another live episode of the Offenders Initiative podcast. You know what I'm saying? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And subscribe. I ain't even gonna waste y'all time. Y'all see the caption right there, right? Power Book 4 Force, the series finale. It cracked off midnight. If you got stars, it cracked off on midnight. The episode is already out. Like I said, we grown folks around here. This is spoiler country, Jack. If you don't like it, you probably should go on about your business and do your sesh somewhere else, because we are definitely going to talk about Tommy Egan and everything that went down in this last episode. How many of my people liked the episode? People here that are here right now, tell me, did you like the episode? I just want to know, because the question right now for me is, was it Za or was it Samid? I'm not gonna lie to y'all. We're gonna break it down. We're gonna take a look at some shit or whatever. I kind of feel like that episode was mid. It left out a whole, it's got a lot of plot holes. There's certain people who are still walking the earth in the power universe that should be 6 feet under, and I should be smoking on their pack currently right now. This was a very underwhelming series finale, and y'all will see what I'm talking about as we search off into it, because ain't no fucking way that we waited a week and a half. We waited damn near 2 weeks for that to be the last. I waited for that to be the last episode. I stayed up past my old ass bedtime for that to be the last episode. Ain't no fucking way. So we about to react to the boy Movie Bot. Salute to them. Please give them a like, comment, and subscribe as we break down this episode and react to it. Without further ado, y'all tell me in the comments what you're smoking on for the sesh today, and let's get to it.
You falling. Last time we was on the rooftop. Build your kingdom. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking legacy.
Aha! Hold up. Tariq said, I'm just gonna run it back.
I mean, you told me if you ain't pushing, then you falling. Last time we was on the rooftop. Build your kingdom. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking legacy. Uncle T.
Did you?
I'm talking legacy. I'm the type of person that likes whenever somebody says the title to whatever movie or TV show I'm watching, they actually say it in passing while they're talking. Build your fucking kingdom, build your legacy.
Feel that? This is the game. Every moment of your life, if you ain't pushing, you falling. If you want to survive, you either civilian or a gangster. There ain't no in between. Stay in your lane. All in, all out.
Now, heading into episode 10, Chris Lofton did mention we actually did something completely different, but made it feel nostalgic in a way no other spin-off has. And no doubt the ending certainly was different. Jannard against all the odds did survive after all. The same with Victor Snitch. They're both.
Look at these two motherfuckers that should be dead right now. Trash. Hey, yo, Stars Writer Room. Stars Writer Room. Let me holler at y'all. We gonna peep this out little by little. There's no way in hell you're gonna get these guys to get roped into the next spinoff, because it sounded like half the spinoff is going to be in New York and the other half is going to be in Chicago, because there's a lot of people from the Chicago crew that did not bite the dust, and I'm trying to figure out why, but let's keep it going.
Without in the wind, no doubt definitely looking to pounce at some point in the future, which is something we did speak about in the build-up to episode 10. Could there be a possibility where Jannard does survive? Well, after all of that, he did. Something else.
Trash.
Also began to mention over the past week or so was the term "nobody is safe in the world of power." I thought maybe there may be more bloodshed than we actually got in episode 10, but Bobby DeFranco did also bite the dust at the hands of AUSA Seng. Revenge was also on the mindset of.
Somebody just came in my comments and asked me, was I a racist? The answer is yes, stupid.
a lot of these characters, not just when it came to the streets. But in the streets, Chicago now belongs to Shanti, Tommy, and Miguel. Although that's not all. We did also see the return of Tariq St. Patrick, and they are indeed attempting to go operational multi-city. They're heading back to New York. Something I mentioned before was, how can you have power and not have the theme song, Big Rich?
Okay, so you just heard what Movie Bot said. They're about to move the whole story back to New York. By the way, we still have one more season, the final season of Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, and then we have the story of young Kanan, young Tommy, and young Ghost, and that is named Power Origins. So they're going to be shooting. We should see this next series, this next spinoff within the next year, maybe 2 years, I should say. I think they're going to have it running in conjunction alongside the Power Origins timeline. So that could be 4 seasons of Power Origins, and that could be 4 seasons of Power Legacy, bringing it all the way back around. And I'm hearing through the grapevine that there's supposed to be a Power movie that's going to finally put a lid on this whole entire universe. Salute to all this thinking and all this world building, but this episode was mid, bro. Like, they didn't write it right. Sorry.
Town. Again, a great callback to Power right at the end, but also signaling the future of Legacy. Now, even though they did leave us on some sort of cliffhanger with some loose threads open, I do have mixed feelings about the finale itself, which no doubt we will dig into in the coming weeks. With that being said, as usual, we're going to be running through all the key storylines, conversations, and plot points. So
again, spoiler country, y'all. Spoiler country. If you want to wait till tonight when it comes on, when it airs nationally for everybody else that does not have regular stars or whatever the case may be, hell, you might want to leave right now. Let's get it.
Stick with this video right through to the very end as we run through the final breakdown of Power Book 4 Force Season 3. Now, episode 10 kicked off with JP's funeral. We had Kate giving the eulogy, and it was brilliantly delivered by Patricia Kellenber, who plays Kate Egan. Even though they'd been through their things, not just in season 2, but throughout the entirety of their lives, where Kate wasn't there for much of JP's life. She did mention having to bury your child goes against the law of nature, which is definitely true. I've seen it with my own family, so this speech definitely hits home in more ways than one. It's also where we saw Maria holding onto her stomach. That's the moment where she probably was thinking about her future and how she needed to protect her baby going forward. But this eulogy from Kate really was heartbreaking. Kate was in tears, Tommy was very emotional, D-Mac was as well, where it looked like he had no love left to give to Genesis. And we also saw Herman, JP's father. Kate also mentioned that she hopes with all the time that she has left with the people that she loves, that they can forgive her for what she's done in the past.
Okay. Let's start right here. You seen JP's father, Herman, sitting there. He's crying. You got D-Mac sitting up there. He mad as hell. Genesis, his girlfriend, is at the funeral with him. She's trying to grab his hand. He kind of pulls away like, bitch, get off me. You know what I'm saying? You got Kate up there giving the whole, oh, I wish I had more time. I wish JP had more time with us. Woo, woo, woo. Now, I know this is a fictional show, but I'm telling y'all right now, you might want to spend time with the people that you love while they're still here, because you could be sitting at this funeral, like how these fictional characters are right here, wondering, why didn't you just go ahead and call the bullshit to the side and actually spend time with these people? The fact that we had the actor who was JP's father, Herman, salute to him, because it takes a lot to see a grown man like legit cry. That man was crying in there. Kate was all heartfelt with the eulogy. She was saying she just wants forgiveness for all the bullshit that she's done in her life. You know, looking straight at Tommy, hoping that Tommy forgives her. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the only child she have left. She got Tommy and she got D-Mac. That's all she has to her name. That's all she has. That's her family right there. And now Mireya is pregnant with a baby, so she's making sure that her family is straight. You understand what I'm saying? While Mireya is also looking to herself like, maybe I need to slide up out the way. Like, this is looking a little crazy. All this gunfire. I'm pregnant. He crazy. Ain't no telling what could happen to me. And I still, going into this episode, I had Mireya getting clipped. That is real power. That is real power right in. If the person who you wouldn't expect mess around and get clipped, that's some real power shit.
And I do think that was definitely
she should have gotten clipped. Tommy is a drug dealer. There are no happy endings for drug dealers. Fuck, was he gonna do? Ride off into the sunset? No, she should have got clipped. That was bad on their part, but we'll find out what happened to her.
Message for her other son, Tommy. Often when we lose loved ones, it puts life into perspective, as many of us have probably experienced ourselves. And look, let's be real. Kate definitely isn't Mother of the Year by any means, and she knows that herself. But over the past 2 seasons, especially when she realized her mistakes, she has owned them and she did try and correct them. And this was also Kate asking for forgiveness. We know Tommy and Kate have had a very turbulent relationship, but there is still a lot of love between Tommy and Kate. And I do think we are going to see that in Power Origins. You could even see in Tommy's reaction, he looked like he wanted to break down into.
We're going to see a young Kate taking care of Tommy. And then at some point, she adopts Ghost. And Ghost is in the house with them too. She always mentions how Ghost was Tommy's real brother. You understand what I'm saying? We're going to come back to that in a minute.
Years when Kate was giving the eulogy. And we also have to remember what he's lost dating back to Power as well. Holly and his unborn child, Raina, Kanan, Lakeisha, Ghost, where he wasn't even able to attend Ghost's funeral back in Power Book 2 Ghost. In Force, he lost Liliana, and we heard Tommy mention how Shanti does now actually fill the void of Liliana at the end of episode 10, but he's also now lost JP. It was a very emotional scene where Kate admitted that she did do wrong. She knows she left JP and Herman when they needed her the most. And for those who may have forgotten, this was JP's...
See? That man was crying real tears. That's some legit good acting. I'm not sure what this brother's name is, but that could have been your granddaddy crying at that funeral, and you'd have been right there crying with him. He did his big one with that. You heard me?
Father, who we haven't seen since season 1. Now, as this funeral was going ahead, we had CBI watching from outside, just waiting to pounce. Jannard was ready to smoke.
Y'all, look at the crackhead. Look at the crackhead right here. He waiting outside the funeral. He tell the rest of them folks in the car, the rest of CBI, I don't care what's going on. The moment Tommy step up out of there, we putting him in a box. It don't matter. They were 3 cars deep outside of the church, wilding.
Tommy and anybody who got in their way the moment they stepped outside the church. But Tommy was a man who was very well prepared. He wasn't just heavily guarded by the insane princes, but also law enforcement. He called in a favor from
Che and Miguel have law enforcement in their pocket. So they called them to cover the whole wedding. Now imagine you sitting here across the street like these motherfuckers right here, waiting to put in work. And then 18 police come out before any of the funeral party. And you're like, man, we can't even do this. The moment I would have saw them, I wouldn't even have waited around to see Tommy. I'd have cut my shit on and drove off. I ain't gonna have nobody. There's not gonna be a time where they're gonna have a chance to lock eyes with me. But of course, you know, this is it has to be some sort of drama. So they waited for Tommy to come out. That boy Tommy came out like, ha, bitch. Thought you had one, huh? Not so.
Okay, and he had the men in blue, which is something we expected based on how relaxed Tommy, Miguel,
and Ray were. Look at him. The whole family standing across the street staring at CBI like, ha, fuck niggas. Y'all thought that shit was gonna go down. Not so. Y'all thought y'all was really gonna spray up this funeral and make things 10 times worse. Now, me personally, would I have wanted to see that versus this part right here? Yes, that's true power fashion. Shoot the funeral up. Shoot the wedding up. We slide back while the funeral in progress. Your bitch ass won't even hit back. He says it in the song. I wanted to see it. I didn't see it. I thought that was a real missed opportunity.
We didn't expect this to be a red funeral based on what they released over the past week. Now, Tommy may have been laying JP to rest, but the business that he's in with Miguel never stops. That also includes revenge. He told Miguel that he's got Shanti working her inside man on CBI, which of course was Raheem at the time.
Before we go any further, how do we now feel about Miguel and Tommy working together? For everybody that watches the show, would y'all rather see this or did y'all want them to continue beefing? I kind of felt like they were beefing for no reason. And from the very, very start, everybody should have been working together in Chicago versus everybody wanting to be. And that's the reason why motherfuckers can't come together and build no empires as it is, because everybody want to be the motherfucking man. You know what I'm saying? Niggas come together, you can get money, as you can see.
He was alive, and that's how they would remain 3 steps ahead. They then got a text from Che. He wanted to see Tommy and Miguel, but this is where Miguel had Tommy's back, like any brother would. He told him that he'll deal with Che, so go do what needs to be done by giving JP the send-off he deserves.
Yeah, he said they at the end of the funeral, Che gonna text Miguel talking about, I need to see y'all right now. Bring Egan. He was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna roll with you then. So he tells Tommy, yo, I'm gonna roll, you know what I'm saying? I gotta go see Che or whatever. We gotta go see Che. He's like, all right, I'm gonna roll with you. He was like, no. He said, yeah, Che is, he Hefe and all that, but above all, he's a family man as well. So you go ahead and you go bury your brother. He will understand that. He gonna have to understand that. Or we just gonna be two grown men sitting up there looking at each other. So salute to Miguel for telling him as a new brother to tell him, yo, bro, you go do your thing. I got this.
And they really have come a long way. Earlier this week, we've actually spoke about how they're not too different, both big on family, both big on love, and taking care of the ones that they love. No doubt Maria also played a part, but these were two characters who were now beginning to understand each other a lot more. Now, once Tommy was done with the funeral and once he laid JP to rest, he was then jumped by someone in the streets. It was Jimmy, one of the Irish lads sent by Vic.
Okay. Y'all, what are up with these hitmen in the Power universe that just cannot get the job done? Trash. My man Tommy go around the corner and he about to get in his own car. This motherfucker is over to the side. Somebody, yo, bro, you got a light? You don't got to be a street nigga. You could just be a hood nigga, and a motherfucker hit you with the, you got a light. You just keep it moving, bro. I don't know you. You just keep it moving. You in an alley asking me for a light. Nah, I'm cool. And who the fuck is just sitting in the alley? You know what I'm saying? So Tommy looked at him. He didn't even answer him with the nah, I don't got one. He just looked at him and kept it moving. My boy tried to come up with the hawk on him. This is for Victor Finn. Tommy, they doing the struggling back and forth. Tommy sweeps him, dumps him on the ground, and he said, where's Vic? You know what I'm saying? Dude was like, I ain't telling you shit. He said, that's cool. I hope it's worth dying for. He hits him in the side of the neck. He bleeding out. He takes his phone, and he gets at Vic. Now, it's even crazier, right? Whenever it's always fun to me whenever I see somebody send a hit on somebody, whether it's a good guy or a bad guy, and then that person calls the person who sent the hit. He like, is it done? Yeah. It ain't done, but he's done. I love shit like that. You be looking over the phone like, oh, shit. He found out. He know what's up. Pack your bags. It's time to go. Victor Flynn is the weakest Flynn. I hate him. I hate the way he was written because he has the potential. He was a real killer. Vic's a real killer, but he pussy. He's emotional. I hate it.
JP to rest. He was then jumped by someone in the streets. It was Jimmy, one of the Irish lads sent by Vic. But we know if you're going to come for Tommy, you better not miss. And even though we know they are in talks around the end of Tommy's story arc, nobody in Chicago, in my personal opinion, is actually worthy of killing Tommy. Not Jannard, not Che, not Vic Flynn, and definitely not Jimmy. I personally still think...
Hold up. Before we even get into that, because I see they got the little Italian girl there. Okay, so now y'all going to wait till Power Legacy to decide to start writing like Power again, where nobody has any job security. I like shows where nobody has any job security. Originally Power, Sons of Anarchy, Game of Thrones. These are shows where people can die. It could be your favorite character, and then next week, bam, bullet in the head, bam, axe in the back, bam, head cut off, bam, car accident, bam, set on fire, whatever the case may be. Damn, that was my favorite character, and now he's gone. Yeah, real shit, no job security. I love shit like that. This is just getting tailored towards everybody being all nice and stuff. Let's run this back. Gary Lennon, the showrunner, says, we have an ending in mind for Tommy, but of course we can't tell you. We have an idea of what the last frame looks like. As much killing as Tommy done did, bro, him actually getting killed by somebody, I don't want to see that. Put Tommy in jail. Like, he done been down too long to have somebody stand over him and like take him out. I don't see that. Him getting locked up, though, I could see that.
Arc. Nobody in Chicago, in my personal opinion, is actually worthy of killing Tommy.
That's
not
a fact.
Jannard, not Che, not Vic Flynn, and definitely not Jimmy. I personally still think Tommy's endgame will be the Italians, and with them going back to New York, it does open that door.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Okay, let me tell you why this is scary right here. If you can remember, this young lady right here is Joe Proctor's daughter. And if you can remember, Tariq left the back door open so that old Uncle Terminator Tommy here could come in and take her father out because he was really kind of working with the ops for real. Had a recording and everything. She's not stupid. She knows what happened to her father, and she knows that Tommy has something to do with it. And Tommy all but tells her, hey, you know, when you get a little bit older, if you want to come see me about it, you can do that, but I'll be ready for you. But I'll understand at the same time. All of this is leading back towards the Italians. I'm gonna tell you something. She on Tariq ass for leaving the door open. So that's the Italians, the Italian mob. That's gonna be an enemy in Power Legacy, and half of Chicago, Victor Flynn and crackhead ass Jannard, they're gonna be the other half. And it might bounce between Chicago and New York, or maybe Victor Flynn and his crew and Jannard take a trip to New York and try and find Tommy there. I don't know.
I personally still think Tommy's endgame will be the Italians, and with them going back to New York, it does open that door. But with Jimmy, Tommy did what he always does and then gave Vic a call. Towards the back end of episode 9, we saw him hop on that private jet and leave with Ray, but you could tell from his reaction then and also here, he knew he made a mistake. Tommy told him that he should have done it himself when he had the chance. He's definitely right. Back in episode 8, Vic had Tommy right where he wanted him. Tommy had so many problems in episode 8, pulling him in a million different directions. At the time in episode 8, he never even saw Vic coming. He had.
By the way, if y'all can see this part, hold up.
Episode 9, we saw him hop on that private jet and leave with Ray, but you could tell from his reaction then and also here, he knew he made a mistake. Tommy told him that he should have done it himself when he had the chance, and he's definitely right. Back in episode 8, Vic had Tommy right where he wanted him. Tommy had so many problems in episode 8, pulling him.
Y'all see that? That was the gun he killed old girl Stephanie Marks with. That was the gun he killed Bruce Leroy haircut with. And Vic took it off him, and then DeFranco and his partner arrested that fool afterwards. What happened to that gun? And yes, he did have Tommy dead to rights, but he was so scary, he didn't do it. He was shooting at his feet. Pussy shit. I hate the way that they wrote him.
In a million different directions. At the time in episode 8, he never.
You should have clipped him. I'd have put a bullet all in this area on Tommy. You crazy?
Even saw Vic coming. He had Tommy at gunpoint, but instead of killing Tommy when he had the chance, he decided to make him tap dance, which is something you never do in this game.
Trash. It's the equivalent. It's the equivalent to when the supervillain has the hero in their clutches, and instead of killing them, he says, "Now I'm going to tell you the process of my evil plan." No, bro, just kill him. I got a gun right in the other room. You could just get the gun, shoot him in the head, hero done. Nah, you got to tell him the evil plan too, right?
Directions. At the time in episode 8, he never even saw Vic coming. He had Tommy at gunpoint, but instead of killing Tommy when he had the chance, he decided to make him tap dance, which is something you never do in this game. Something that we've learned from the 48 Laws of Power from Law 15 is crush your enemy totally.
That's a
fact. If you've got
fact.
your enemy in your sights and you decide to toy with them instead,
If you have your enemy in sights, if you got the one up and you decide to play with your food instead, that same weakling is going to come back and take your crown in more ways than one. Vic should have put Tommy down right here, and he didn't, because he pussy.
definitely will live to regret it. Now, Vic had everything here. He was out in the woods. He had Ray. Nobody would ever be able to find him. But you could tell from this moment early on in the episode, there was no way he was going to stay here. But we will come back around to Vic coming back to Chicago and also joining forces with Jannard a bit later on. Now, with Jannard, we had him on the rooftop on his own, ready to put the needle in his arm, just like back in season 2. Over the past few weeks, we actually spoke about a couple of different endings when
Here's dope head right here. You just had a conversation with your brother and told him you was going to be straight. Now, I don't think that conversation is null and void just because he's gone. So at some point, like if you want, how can you want revenge, but you're high? You can't even think straight. Heron got you all twisted. So I'm glad he decided against putting the needle in his arm and he stayed focused. That could be what kept him alive.
it came to Jannard's character, he either dies, survives, or perhaps even turns into a junkie Jannard. And I thought for a moment, because of what happened in episode 9, him losing Diamond in the manner that he did, he may just go back to the needle and his old ways from season 2. However, the picture of him and Diamond, how far they've come, how close they came to taking over the city, he decided he's not going to go down that route. He then received the text from Roberto Ortega, which mentioned he's sending more men. He wants Tom Egan off the map once and for all. And that's what probably fueled Jannard to keep his head straight, or at least, should I say, semi-straight in episode 10, which was revenge and avenging his brother's death. We saw the Memorial of Diamond, where we saw the Wall of Diamond's memories with the
Rest in peace to Diamond, man. He went out for real, for real. He went out the right way, protecting his brother, even after he knew his brother was setting him up to die. He went out protecting his brother. Salute to Diamond Sampson, man. A real one.
Message that read, "Our fallen king," the leader of CBI and someone who had a lot of respect because of what he'd accomplished before he went to jail. We heard the stories back in season 1 of how he was a champ and very well respected at his local cafe. Tommy also saw the articles on the wall of the gym back in season 1. He was very well respected by these guys here, Bones, Big Smurf, and everybody.
And he died protecting a junkie. Diamond died protecting a junkie, even though that was his brother. All right, man. Hell of a way to go out.
Else who was a part of CBI, Diamond was the OG and his death definitely hurt for sure. Now, this is where Jannard questioned Raheem, which I think we all knew was coming at some point in episode 10. We had Jannard questioning where he was with the rest of CBI when they slid up to the funeral to take Tommy out. And his response was he was with his girl, which Jannard saw straight through. He knew he was playing the other side because he knows exactly what he saw back in episode 9. And we know as well, he refused to shoot Shanti when he had the chance. Diamond did also mention if their location does get leaked, then they would have known they would have had a snitch amongst their ranks.
That's a fact.
So as expected, there goes Raheem. And
now, I like how he checked out the whole scene where he seen Raheem was moving a little funny and all that. And then he put 2 and 2 together a little bit later because he was on Raheem ass. Look. Raheem looked like he doing some shit he ain't got no business doing. He was on game. Salute to old crackhead ass Jannard for not getting high and being on point. To the point where he pulls up on Raheem and tells him, yo, bro, you know what I'm saying? It's real funny how you all booed up with Shanti and all that. Like, you know, she know a little bit more. How did niggas know where to catch us at and all that? I mean, you tweaking. He said, let me see your phone. Raheem hit him with the, man, please, whatever, bro. He turned around, turned his back on Jannard. Jannard put one through the back of his head as he should have. That is classic power writing. I like how my boy stayed focused right there because that, in fact, was the mole on your team. And you found it out. Maybe a little bit too late, but you found it out. Shout out to G Herbo. You know what I'm saying? They gave him a little spot on this episode too.
there goes Raheem. And he was right. He was the snitch because he was the one who was.
He got Buddy phone after he shot him in the back of the head. Now, mind you, he didn't know for sure. He just had a real feeling. He grabs the phone. He uses the FaceTime, the face lock, clock. He you know what I'm saying? Says Diamond and Jannard have moved to the church. I will let you know when to make the move. Go time. Got you. Somebody says Jannard put that needle down and was focused. That's a fact. That's a fact. And that's the part that I like. See, he was able to catch certain shit because he decided not to get high. Like I said, that conversation where he told his brother, I'm going to leave that shit alone. That shit not null and void just because he gone, bro. If you a real one, you honor what you're supposed to honor. You heard me? And I like that part. But let's keep it going.
Working with Shanti. This was also a warning to everybody else. If everyone is on the same shit that Raheem is, they are going to end just like him. And he did deliver a message that we mentioned earlier this week. You're either with him or against him. We spoke about how you can't sit on the fence in this particular war because there is no gray area, because we saw what happened to Marshall in episode 9.
Yeah, Marshall played around, and he fucked around and found out. He thought D-Mac was like him. I'm going to keep pulling guns on people and don't do nothing with it. Now look at you, leaking out your forehead in your mama's kitchen.
When he decided to pick CBI but not kill D-Mac, you're either with CBI or you're with Tommy, Miguel, and Shanti. And throughout episode 10, we did start to see this empire crumble under Jannard's leadership. And
I mean, he was kind of on point on this part, but yeah, a lot of crazy stuff has happened since Diamond been gone.
Everybody flipping over to Team Tommy. Now, speaking of D-Mac, we knew we'd get a very raw emotional reaction to JP's death. But what we saw in episode 9 was a character who still hadn't processed what exactly had happened. He was full of pain, hurt, anger, and he definitely wanted revenge. But at the same time, I'm sure as many of us have experienced, very similar to D-Mac, in the sense it does take a while for a death of a loved one to kick in. At first, sometimes
I'm going to tell y'all right now, because we're definitely going to see D-Mac in Power Legacy. I'm going to tell y'all right now, the sweet feeling of revenge when I finally see D-Mac catch Jannard. It got to be classic. It can't be lame. He got to go out the way that Dre did. You know what I'm saying? He got to go out that way. He got to go out that way. It can't be no regular shit. It got to be on some, yeah. D-Mac got to be standing over him for his father, bro, for real.
You don't even process it because it's still so raw and fresh. It's only maybe after the funeral or once the dust settles.
My dad's dead. I'm slick the cause of it, and I can't do nothing about it. That's what that face is right there. Had I just went to school and wouldn't have been with none of this street shit, my father would still be alive.
When you're back home with all the pictures and all the memories, that's when you begin to realize what you've lost and also who's to blame. But I did think at some point we would see D-Mac emotional from this particular angle as well. Him on his own in tears. You had all the images of JP. You could tell D-Mac was really hurting. And I think that conversation that he had later with Tariq did help. But at the same time, he still is going to need a lot of mentoring, which hopefully we do see in Legacy if he does cross over with Tommy and Tariq back.
He's definitely crossing over. D-Mac was a good character, was he not? Did y'all like D-Mac in this series? Did we like the character of D-Mac? Let me know.
To New York, but let's wait and see. Now, with Genesis, he did mention that he sold his bike and gave her an envelope of cash to get her up and running as Spellman. He wanted her to have a good life, but just not with him.
Okay, that was a grown man decision. Y'all remember the boy D-Mac had the little motorbike and all that? Like, he was fly. He sold his bike, gave Shorty some money, and said, hey, take this so you can go to school and get away from here, get away from the shot. But we not going to be together because I know what I got to do in order for my soul to be okay. And that is get this little revenge for my daddy. You know what I'm saying? And it's probably going to take me down a dark path that you don't need to be a part of. So you go to school and you go and change the world and live your dreams. You know what I'm saying? Me, I got to go make sure this shit with Jannard gets straight. She says to him, you can just leave with me. We can go down to ATL. You can go to school with me. You don't have to be on this street shit. And it sounded like to me in this scene, if you didn't catch on already, Genesis really loved, she really loves D-Mac for her to say something like that. It was cool to see, but my man was so filled with pain, sadness, and rage and revenge. He got to walk away from her. And I understand it because he going to put all that off on her. He even grabbed her up when she said, you know, she was trying to hug him. And he was like, yo, she said, I don't even know who the fuck you are anymore. When a woman tell you that, I don't even know who the fuck you are anymore. Oh, boy, it's bad.
And you could definitely tell from his reaction he has changed. JP's death has changed D-Mac, which is why it needed to happen. The only way characters seem to learn, especially young characters like Tariq, the young Kanan, and D-Mac, is when they lose loved ones because of their actions. Now, Genesis also actually wanted D-Mac to leave the streets behind him. She tried to convince him to come to Spellman with her. And had JP been alive, maybe there may have potentially been a very slim chance where he may have considered it, but definitely not anymore. Any hopes of D-Mac taking the blue pill of power is definitely gone. And to be honest, with a character like D-Mac, he is street through and through. Now, back at the house, Maria was trying to be extra helpful, especially around Kate, because towards the end of episode 9, Kate did actually catch Maria booking the one-way ticket to Mexico. But at the time, Kate still hadn't told Tommy, because the truth is, she was actually hoping Maria would.
Nah, Kate was like, I don't need your help. I don't need your help. You're only trying to be nice because I caught you booking that ticket trying to leave with my grandbaby. You know what I'm saying? That's why you're trying to be nice to me. I don't need your help. Leave person. You know what I'm saying? So now she's like, yo, you got to stop being mean to me. This was Mireya saying to her, you got to stop being mean to me, man. Like, what can we do here? She's like, I'm just trying to make sure that my family stays together. So she asked her, why didn't you tell Tommy what I said? She said, because he can't stay. He's already in a situation where he lost another brother. That's something that y'all need to discuss. And I like that Kate left it up to her or whatever. And she's like, but I'm letting you know you're wrong right now. But if you do make the decision to leave, you might just be right at the same time.
Change her mind, which Maria did say she had at the time. She told Kate she was staying, but you could actually tell Kate didn't really believe Maria, because for as much as Kate isn't Mother of the Year, she has always been able to see straight through Tommy's previous girlfriends.
Yep.
When it came to Holly and also Lakeisha, Kate won Tommy on both occasions, and we probably will see something very similar in Power Origins, which, by the way, we did get a tease to just before episode 10. For those who may have missed it, Power Origins is coming soon, hopefully at the back end of 2026. Now, back at the house, we also had D.
we could see Power Origins at the end of 2026. Hold on, because we still waiting on Raising Kanan to drop. The Power Universe don't stop, I see. Okay.
Mac was still very emotional at this moment in time, which is definitely understandable. He had his peace with him and he told Tommy that he had a score to settle, which of course was putting an end to Jannard. But he was still very emotional at this moment in time. We also saw what happened in episode 9 between him and Marshall. We also saw the scene between him and
Fuck Marshall. Marshall was a snake. He deserved everything he got.
Genesis. The problem with this approach is it's wild, it's reckless, and he's definitely not thinking straight. Making moves when you're in this emotional state, that's when you make mistakes. That's when you go and get yourself killed in the streets, or even worse, get someone else killed. Just like with what happened with the knock-on effect of him killing Mad Dog back in season 2. We know when D-Mac wants to put his mind to something, he can actually be very strategic. We saw it back in episode 3. The problem is he's still...
I like how Tommy pulled him to the side right here and had a conversation with D-Mac and told him, yo, I can't have you wilding out in the street. I need you on my side. I need you following what I say, because if something happened to me, I need you to look after my wife and this baby. So if you gone, who's my backup here? You're all I got. He said, all right, cool. I'm going to stop wilding.
Very young, he's a teenager, and this is the first time he has experienced this kind of pain. And we definitely have to remember that. This is still very raw and new for someone like D-Mac. He's still going to be very emotional. But again, the problem D-Mac could cause if Tommy wasn't standing in his way is huge. He'd only make things difficult for Tommy if he were to go out on his own. So rightfully so, Tommy tells him he needs him to calm down and he can't have him wilding out on him. He promises they're going to make Jannard pay for what he did to JP. But at the same time, they had to make sure their next move was solid. He also asked another valid question. What if something happened to Tommy? Who would look after Maria and his baby? Who would look after Kate? Who would look after D-Mac? As much as Tommy is the man of the house, he was also telling D-Mac that he was as well. He also had a conversation with Kate where she told him she was heading back to New York because she...
Okay, this conversation right here. Kate says, hey, I'm about to roll out. This is a little too much for me. And Tommy says, you know, why don't you try something new? He wasn't even like being smart with her. He said, you always run away from your problems. Why don't you try sticking around for a while? Like Tommy's letting her know, I don't want you to leave. I want you to stay. You know what I'm saying? Be with the fam. I need you right now. You know what I'm talking about? And she's like, no, if you want me to stop playing with my nose, remember, I told y'all in 2026, when people start doing crazy stuff, I'm just going to assume you play with your nose. She said, in order for her to stop playing with her nose, she needs to go back to New York and finish her journey of sobriety. Salute to Kate trying to stay on the narrow because now she feels like she has something to live for. Salute.
She needed time to work on herself. And you would have thought Tommy would have been glad to get rid of Kate, but this time around, he actually wanted Kate to stick around, which I personally don't think was a great idea. In my opinion, Kate going back to New York is perfect. Maria leaving to go to Mexico is also perfect, because then it would leave no vulnerabilities in Chicago for characters like Jannard and CBI to target. Just
fact.
like Jannard did back in episode 9. Tommy wanted to put Maria in a safe house until everything was over with Jannard and CBI, which is where Maria mentioned Tommy is the first person that is...
Or Maria could have went to New York with Kate instead of going all the way to fucking Mexico. Maybe she ran all the way to Mexico because she has more protection there. Family. I get it.
Broken, but unbreakable at the same time. And I do think that was a great way to put it when it comes to who Tommy Egan is. Tommy is broken because he's deeply damaged, like we spoke about before. Ghost's death, JP's death, Lakeisha's death, countless of betrayals. He carries heavy guilt and loyalty issues from his past. But he is also unbreakable because despite all the pain, trauma, and close calls that he's had in the streets, despite everything that he's been through, he never fully cracks.
That is true. That is true. That boy Tommy, his character development into this broken but unbreakable man, you know what I'm saying? With all this stuff that's happened to him, it's been great to see him just like really push through and strive.
He survives, adapts, keeps fighting and pushing forward because he knows better than anyone. If you ain't pushing, you're falling. So Maria definitely is right. He's broken and also unbreakable. But with both Kate going back to New York and Maria going back to Mexico, I do think it was a good thing. And
she left him the Dear John letter. Dear John. Yo, I'm rolling out to Mexico. I'm taking myself off the board so that you can get your head in the game and completely win this war. This will also take my brother's mind off of me too, so that y'all can lock the fuck in. I like that she said that. She didn't run away. She just said, yo, when y'all finish, I know you're gonna win this war. When you done, come down to Mexico and come get me and the baby. I like this. This was actually pretty good writing, even though I would have preferred to see her die. Salute to her character being able to go on into Power Legacy. So I'm sure we're gonna see her in Power Legacy as well. But that was a smart move by Mireya, for real, for real.
No doubt, we sure haven't seen the last of Kate. We definitely will be seeing her in Power Legacy. And I do think the next time we do see Mireya, she may just be carrying Tommy Jr. in his arms, which no doubt will be a Powers first.
That's the fact.
Now, we then had Shanti come in. She gave the news to Tommy that Jannard left Raheem's body in the middle of the ring in her gym as a message. And
that was gangster.
That was a big problem. They just lost their advantage within CBI, which was through Raheem feeding intel. But Tommy did also say there was another way they could get to Jannard because his biggest weakness isn't a needle, it's Shanti. And that's how they were going to get their in with CBI. Now, with law enforcement, we had AUSA saying moving.
Yo, okay. Everybody that done seen it. This boy here surprised me, nah. I ain't gonna lie. He surprised me with the way that we're gonna get to it. The way that he showed up.
Into Stacey Marks' office. But Bobby DeFranco did not waste any time at all. He confronted him about seeing him with Chen, accepting the envelope of cash back in episode 9, the same person who went to go visit Merkovich. AUSA Seng did try to initially play it off, but we know Bobby DeFranco isn't stupid. Not only did he have the pictures, he had more. Earlier this week, I did say Bobby DeFranco will need more evidence, and this
this is old boy's bank statement showing that he's been getting paid off by the cartel. He had him dead to rights. I'm gonna tell y'all something about these AUSAs and these law enforcement that come in and they be knowing stuff about these characters in the Power universe, but they don't ever bring no backup. They don't ever have a gun out, nothing. They just pull up. I know you did this. So you think I'm finna just let you walk away after you told me that you gonna tell on me? Nah, you're not leaving here. You done.
It. He had the financials to AUSA Seng. They then had this back-end force, which ended up with them agreeing.
He should have been there ready to arrest him right then and there. When he didn't arrest him, I knew it was over for DeFranco.
To basically lead Tommy into a trap. We did also have AUSA Seng mentioning after they were done, he was going to walk free because he was more than happy to take the prison sentence and keep his mouth shut as long as his wife remained safe from the Marquez cartel, which is where Bobby DeFranco then agreed to play ball. Now, they then gave Tommy Egan a call. He mentioned that he's now the acting U.S. attorney in Stacey Marks' place, and he had a way which would mutually benefit both. So the meet was now set.
I said Stephanie Marks. I meant Stacey Marks earlier, y'all.
But you could tell something big was going to happen with the look on Seng's face. And how many of you guys pictured what came next? We had AUSA Seng coming to see Tommy, which was all a setup. Tommy and AUSA Seng were already working together. And I do think he knew he had to get...
Oh, man. They put the whole plan out right in front of DeFranco, right? He's waiting around the corner, supposed to be protecting Singh because Singh said, yo, I'm supposed to be meeting Tommy tomorrow to talk to him. What if I get into some trouble? What if he pulled a hammer on me? Like, what we gonna do here? He was like, yo, just use a safe word. He's like, what's the safe word? Wife. Okay, trying to be funny and shit, not a problem. So my man come around the corner telling me, put your hands up, Egan. Bro, Tommy dirty and Singh is dirty. You think they didn't have another conversation after you left? Come on, man.
Get rid of this problem because Bobby DeFranco did make it clear he was never going to stop until he got justice for Stacey Marks. Although I don't think anybody had AUSA Seng pulling the trigger on Bobby DeFranco.
I did. But I didn't have it until they drew down on each other. When they drew down on each other and the camera flipped, I said, Singh about to put a bullet in the back of DeFranco head.
Kind of a Mike Sandoval 2.0 moment.
Yep.
Back on X a couple of weeks ago, I did mention I could see AUSA Seng killing Stacey Marks, which I was almost there, but he killed Bobby DeFranco instead. Now, something that is worth
same difference. You were still right, movie bot. Same difference, my boy.
Mentioning, I do think we need to keep in mind, Tommy did say he wanted that recording because he was wearing a wire, which Seng said he will give to him later. Something to definitely maybe keep in mind because who knows whether that could pop back up in the world of Power in the future.
It's definitely going to pop back up.
There are a lot of loose threads and I do think this could potentially be one. Now, after Bobby DeFranco was taken care of, Seng did deliver the news to the Pack Media room where he threw dirt on not just Stacey Marks' name, but also Bobby DeFranco.
He flipped it like those misappropriated funds that he was getting in his account. He flipped it like Stacey Marks and DeFranco was the one still taking the money from the cartel and all that. Yo, your man played his part right here.
With the news to the Pac media room, where he threw dirt on not just Stacey Marks' name, but also Bobby DeFranco. He mentioned they were both involved in a corrupt drug ring and their financials prove it, which was ironically thanks to Bobby DeFranco's investigation, just twisted by AUSA Seng.
Yep.
And as we all know in power, a dead person can't defend themselves.
This
so
is
there
true.
goes Bobby DeFranco and say hello to the new US Attorney of Chicago, William Seng. Now, in terms of the streets, we then had Shanti coming over to see Jannard, which we knew was a cleverly orchestrated plan by Tommy and Shanti. Tommy did tell D-Mac earlier on in the episode that their next move had to be solid, and this was a part of their plan. Have Shanti get back.
The fact that they didn't put a bullet in her chest when she first walked in there to talk to him, that's crazy as hell to me. But this is folks thinking that they masterminds and all of that.
In with Jannard, sprinkle some truth in by telling Jannard that, yeah, the original plan was to kill Diamond, but having the White Devil do it, that just doesn't sit right. Just like Kanan once told Tommy, every good lie is veiled in the truth. She was making Jannard a proposition of working together. Again, he'd get Garfield Park, Manny Fresh, and the whole of West Side. The problem with this relationship is there's basically no trust. That bridge was burnt back in episode 7. And there has also been an overriding theme dating back to Power, which originally started with Courtney Kemp, and then also continued under Gary Lennon, especially in Fall Season 3. In Power, they've represented this world where honesty does build this rare trust. For example, what we saw between Tommy and Ileana, but with others who are very power hungry. For example, Shanti Showstopper. In this criminal world, that
I have a prediction for Power Legacy. Jannard might get down on Shanti later. He might end up being the one to take her off the board later. I could see that happening. And that'd be a hit to Tommy.
These guys are in through ambition, secrets, constant backstabbing. Loyalty is always transactional and prone to collapse. And you could definitely tell Jannard was very hesitant because of what they just been through. Shanti can be very persuasive when she wants to be, but straight away they made it clear Jannard wasn't buying Shanti's bullshit, and she knew it too. She told Tommy that he didn't buy it, so the next move was target the RDs. However, first up was a meeting with Che. The landscape of Chicago's drug game was changing in episode 10, not just at street level, but at the top as well. Their bosses in Mexico said the Marquez
Hold on.
cartel were no longer their enemy. The Estrada cartel and the Marquez cartel were now working together.
All right. That's going to be another important thing that is going to come into play with Power Legacy. The fact that the Estrada and the Marquez cartel are in fact working together. Yeah, this new series for at least four seasons, it got to bounce between Chicago and New York. They have a chance to really, really like kill it with the Legacy show, because they can bring back everybody that's not dead into these two different locations. So they have a real chance at doing something special within like a universe. Is the Power universe like one of the first franchises that they've had a bunch of spin-off TV shows that kind of built its own universe? Y'all tell me.
Said the Marquez cartel were no longer their enemy. The Estrada cartel and the Marquez cartel were now working together. Before the regime to work, they...
No, because Sons of Anarchy had the Mayans MC, and y'all gonna kill me, but I've never seen the Mayans show. Was that actually good? Anybody watch the Sons of Anarchy universe? Was the Mayans TV show good? I'm about to get into it.
Did have to make a sacrifice, which is where he pulled a gun on Tommy, and you saw Miguel's facial reaction thinking, shit, because that's not just the father of his sister's baby, that's also someone he now considers a brother. Luckily, Tommy wasn't the sacrifice. Again, I don't think anybody is worthy of killing Tommy in Chicago. Definitely not Che or anybody else. But over here, Roberto Ortega was a sacrifice. And Tommy was more than happy to get a second kill.
Nah, Che pulled the Beretta out and was like, yo, there is the small problem of a certain man. Now that the two cartels have been working together, there is the problem of a certain man who, since he has been in town, has caused all sorts of problems, and he must be up as a sacrifice. Takes the gun out, points it at Tommy's head, then flips the butt of the gun to him and says, Roberto Ortega. Dudes grab him. He thinking everything all good. He said, Tommy, this is your kill. Handing him the gun. He said, oh, man, don't mind if I do. Stood over, boy.
of episode 10. Now, with the RDs, he managed to convince Grayskull to get on board because Jannard was actually the one who killed King Kilo and Jojo. Not only that, Tommy had...
Salute to Grayskull stepping up as the leader of the RDs now, and he was smart enough to get with Tommy versus trying to be his enemy. We'll probably see him in Power Legacy as well. He was actually a good character. He wasn't stupid, which is what I liked about him. He knew off bat when motherfuckers wasn't on timing. He knew when niggas was on bullshit the whole time. So salute to buddy who plays this character at Grayskull. Can't wait to see him in Power Legacy.
The backing of both the cartels who were done doing business with CBI. So with that being said, Grayskull was more than happy to flip over to Team Tommy because there was no reason to stay within the coalition under Jannard. Their organization was basically done. But not only that, Tommy did now have a new set of eyes and ears within their coalition. Jannard thought Tommy was just about to fall into his trap, not knowing Tommy had flipped Grayskull, who delivered the message straight to Tommy that they were going to load up at the trees and lumberyard.
And that was real easy because Grayskull ain't like J-Nard anyway. He ain't like him no way.
And as Shanti said, sometimes surprise is the best form of attack. The problem they had was they were still very low on numbers, even if they had Manny fresh, which is where Tommy made a call.
Hold on. Does anybody know if Manny Fresh got clipped during that shootout at the end? Let me know.
Now, it is also crazy to think how far these two have come as well, both Miguel and Tommy, as they were rolling out, brothers in arms, fighting the same war. It's crazy because of where they actually began season 3. So it definitely was good to see them having a couple of moments in episode 10. Now, as Tommy, Miguel, Shanti, D-Mac, and their soldiers came to the lumberyard, Tommy took out a hell of a lot of CBI soldiers. In a role reversal, we also saw Shanti being shot in the shootout, where this time we saw D-Mac helping Shanti, which was the other way around in episode 9 when we saw Shanti helping D-Mac. And shortly after, this is where we saw the return of Tariq. Just as
Shanti and D-Mac are going to have a deeper relationship, but she's going to have to tell him that she was with him, with the planning of him getting killed. She's going to have to let him know that.
As the Marquez cartel and CBI were closing.
Salute to Tariq showing up at the last minute. They were pinned down. Miguel yells out to Tommy, yo, Miguel, our boys are down. You got one pulling up on you. It wasn't really one. It was like 3 of them. One was over top of Tommy and 2 were on the side of him. You hear Shanti yell out, Tommy. And then you see your boy Tariq with the, he took out everybody.
In on Tommy, we saw Tariq saving his uncle Tommy, and it definitely has been a long time since we've seen Tariq in action. I think we all knew he was showing up, and I did think we all knew this was going to be the moment as well. Now, with the aftermath of the shootout with Jannard and CBI, they were at the barbershop basement. We had Bones and Smurf tell Jannard, ever since he's been in charge, their organization has been going downhill.
See what happens when you tell the truth? Niggas don't like it. Look at them. These two right here was looking at Jannard like, yo, yeah. Because Slim said to Jannard, yo, man, ever since you've been in charge, we've been on bullshit. And then them two was like, yo, man, as a matter of fact, neither one of our crews had a problem with Tommy. That was, for, you know what I'm saying? The problem that we did have, he squared it away. You're the one with the problem.
DSDs and SODs were also out, and so were Bones and Big Smurf, who did actually flip over to working with Tommy, which just left Jannard on his own. He was done.
Can't wait to see Bones and Big Smurf and Power Legacy, because we damn sure gonna see them too. Now they left this fool in Siberia, so now he like, man, I'm really left out because I don't have nobody to go at Tommy with. And he's not thinking maybe I should just get out of town. He's still trying to go at Tommy.
With no crew, no soldiers, no coalition, no Shanti, no Diamond. It was just Jannard on his own. In contrast, we had 2 characters here now who consider themselves brothers. Miguel needed the help of Maria here, no doubt, but Tommy did the best he could, which is where we saw them share another moment. Miguel mentioned he may have lost a brother in JP, but he definitely has gained a new one. Same thing with Tariq and D-Mac. It's a conversation
Everybody that's seen the show so far, how did y'all feel about this scene right here? When D-Mac and Tariq were talking, and what made me laugh was when D-Mac said to Tariq, I heard you lost your father too. He gonna look over at D-Mac like, yeah, he lost his father. He killed him. He lost his father. I don't know. I kind of thought the scene was a little mid, man. Like, it was just a whole lot unsaid. You feel me?
I did think would happen at some point. I would have liked to have heard more, but earlier in the week we spoke about how these two characters are very different in terms of their upbringing, but how they also share a lot of similarities at the same time. And them losing their fathers.
He probably gonna have him riding with him once they get this New York thing popping off. It would only be right because Tariq with somebody who's a little bit younger is on D-Mac's level. I wouldn't say on his level, but somebody he can relate to a little bit more. When Tariq tells him, yo, bro, use your brain before you use that gun, that's when we're going to see D-Mac really turn into a dangerous character.
D-Mac killing Marshall. It was nice to see him being able to talk to Tariq, someone around his age who would have gone through something very similar to what he has, and hopefully a lot more to come as well. Now, I did mention that Jannard was on his own. However, there was also someone who did.
Look at this fool. Look at this fool. He over there in the damn woods with the girl of his dreams, supposedly. He is off the map. He's off the grid, waiting for a couple of days till he gets another plane with old girl so they can fly to someplace that has no extradition. She's trying to get him out of Chicago. And he just won't stay away because he has to kill Tommy Egan. Poor writing. You pussy. You had a chance to kill him and you didn't. I hate it.
Back, and that was Vic Flynn. After he saw the news that Diamond was killed, you could tell that Vic really wasn't happy with this life that he was forced to live. Ray said that he was free, but this wasn't exactly freedom in Vic's eyes. He didn't want to be Jason Booker. He wanted to be Vic Flynn.
That's stupid. That's stupid. That's stupid. You were free. You're going somewhere, a beautiful country. That girl has money. Y'all were going to be somewhere good, but you would rather be down in the decadence of the Chicago street life. Okay. I can't wait till Legacy pop up. When he get his head taken off, I'm going to be right there with a bag of popcorn, I'm telling you.
Wasn't happy with this life that he was forced to live. Ray said that he was free, but this wasn't exactly freedom in Vic's eyes. He didn't want to be Jason Booker. He wanted to be Vic Flynn, which actually reminded me of when Tariq said something very similar back in Ghost, kind of the same energy from Vic. But we had him returning and telling Jannard that he heard about Diamond. Tommy also was the one to kill Claudia, and now they have a common enemy. And this is one of the loose threads that Gary Lennon spoke up in the build-up to season 3, where we were then going to ask the question, where the hell do they go from here? This story with Jannard and Vic Flynn wanting to get revenge on Tommy isn't over. They will be.
They're going to make a crew together. That could be dangerous. Can't wait to see.
Returning at some point to try and bring Tommy down. You can guarantee that. Although what I would say to them is, good luck. In my opinion, it's only delaying the inevitable. Now, in terms of the business in Chicago, how they left it in episode 10 was with Shanti in control over CBI. Over on X back in December,
He said over on X back in December, not quite, but Stacey Marks did get her Christmas canceled. My bold prediction, Tommy and Shanti take over Chicago, remove Jannard and Diamond. Shanti to take over control CBI and the city for Tommy as he attempts to go operational multi-city, which transitions into Legacy. That was a pretty good prediction.
I did post this bold prediction, and it did actually happen to come true. Shanti's taken over CBI, but you also have Tommy now trying to go operational multi-city. At the time, I did mention you can't have power and not hear the theme, Big Rich Town, and well, here it was. We heard it. But we also had Tommy and Tariq having this conversation around Ghost, which I think was long overdue. They've definitely been through a lot, and I definitely don't think it's the last time they talk about their past.
Tariq told that fool, look, yo, I'm here to help you out. Don't start talking about Ghost and all that. He talking about, I had a brother. Yo, man, I don't want to hear that shit. Ghost is fucking dead. You asked for my help. I pulled up to help you, Uncle Tommy. We still family. But I ain't here to apologize for the past. I ain't here to apologize for shit. I'm just doing what's right. So then he tells him, he said, man, he said, I'm looking at what you got going on. You basically got Chicago on lock. He said, but you got Shanti and Miguel running around like workers. I can't believe he said that. They whole bosses. He called them workers. He was like, yo, you might as well just take your powder, come to New York, move some work with me, with my people and all that. With your people, we got some real moves that we can make. Yeah, this is definitely going to bounce between New York and Chicago. And then at the end, you hear, they say this is a big rich town. Boop, boop. Yeah, you know.
Either. However, despite what's happened between them, they are still family. And he did actually admit that Tariq did turn out to be a gangster, which does come from part of Tommy. He had this conversation with him back in season 3 of Ghost, where he told him that he can't have one foot in and one foot out, and he decided to finally pick one. Tommy then asked him about New York, which is where we learned something kicked off back in New York. He got shaken up, and now he needs a new partner. Again, where we had another old power reference, if you ain't pushing, you falling. And where are they heading back to? Back to New York. But there are still some lingering dangers that still lurk around the corner and plenty of loose threads that they still need to keep
These two are going to make a crew. Then the Italians back in New York.
in mind.
On top of that, if we can remember at the very first season of Force, Tommy was supposed to go out to California to work for somebody. He never made it out there. Those people might be coming for him as well.
And no doubt, we definitely will be seeing them at some point. With that being said, that's a wrap for episode 10. Drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section. And over the coming weeks, we'll no doubt have time to
Salute the movie bot. I kind of felt like this was a mid-series finale, just like how I felt like Ghost was kind of mid too, even though Monet dying was a little predictable to me. But yeah, they're gonna have to go crazy with these next few series. Like, okay, so we got Raising Kanan is next. They're gonna have to go crazy with the series finale of Raising Kanan. Like, we need some cliffhangers and all of that. We need those. Put asses back in seats. Put viewers back in front of their televisions. Put people back trying to get that app of stars, man. Salute, but yeah, it was a little mid, but it was something to watch. How do y'all feel about Power Book 4 Force as a series overall, and how it's going to transition into Power Legacy? Are you excited for Raising Kanan? Are you excited for Power Origins? Let me know, man. This was a great sesh. It's your boy Slave DiBiase. This was another episode of the Offenders Initiative podcast. Like, comment, and subscribe, and great sesh. We out.